everybody. Welcome to the show with Mike, who's not on camera. What's going on with that, fellas?
What do you mean? What's wrong?
Yeah, it looks great. Just you two clowns. Why don't we, I'm sorry, folks. Give us a minute. Let's restart this. Let's figure out why the camera's broken.
Yep.
Not on me.
What the?
And take two. There we go. That's much better. I was like, I'm a ghost. You can't even see me on the screen. That's perfect. Much better. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show with Mike. Big E is here. Hello, Isis.
Hello.
And Garrett is here. Hello, Garrett.
What it do?
God, it feels like it's been a minute since we've been down here.
It does, even though it was only a week.
Yeah.
Life is weird like that.
Well, we were here, all of us were here Monday.
That's what I'm saying. It was technically only 7 days ago, but it does feel like I felt like I got a winter break or something.
Yeah. It was funny because Drew had asked me to do Wednesday's show, and then that quickly morphed into, well, you want to do Tuesday too? And so that's what I thought we were doing.
Yeah.
And then after Wednesday's show, he's like, hey, you want to come back and do tomorrow as well? And so I figured that was smart.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
to do that. I'm sure there's a handful of people that listen to this show that were like, what the fuck, dude? But it's always good to go over there. And that was the first time I've been over there, actually.
Yeah.
To Drew's house.
What'd you think, Mike? Did you like it?
I did. Yeah. It's a quaint setup. It really is. I think this sounds better. This studio sounds better in your headphones.
Now, this is a dumb question, but that is his house. It's not like he doesn't.
Yeah.
He lives in that house and just goes down to the basement like okay.
Just like this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the way to do it.
For
and,
sure.
It was a lot of fun. You know what? I had a blast that Thursday show with Bentley.
Yeah.
I forgot. Bentley could be a real cunt back in the day. He really could.
True
It's funny. Bentley actually apologized to me at one point.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
What did he say?
Not
Nothing exactly,
crazy,
but I mean, just
like, hey, man, I know I could be kind of,
a weirdo.
Yeah, at times. And you know what? It led to some, I don't know how to say it, some like tension between all of us.
Yeah.
And it's not all his fault, but by any means.
No.
But there was definitely some tension between me and Bentley and
Yeah.
and you guys had your own level of that. And I was like, you know what, Jim, I'm sorry too. There was, we should have all just gotten along always, all the time. And it didn't need to be the way, but
that's humans, I guess.
Yeah. And so that was water under the bridge to me, anything that happened. It's like
all over his picks?
No.
Okay, because that's why I'd fight him.
No. It had not. No, this is going back to the Drew and Mike show. So, but then I've run into him a couple times, and he's been great. He's been great. I think his wife Kate is awesome, and Jim has always been very, very funny. That's never been like talent's not an issue. Jim's always been funny
for sure.
but it was great, like being in a round table setting with all those guys. Brandon's really good.
Yeah,
and Drew's just a pro's pro, and so sitting there and Jim's gotten more of a voice now as he's gotten older.
Oh, has it? No, just kidding. I'm kidding. No, good for him. Dude. That's awesome.
It's hard to have a voice when you're just like You know,
No.
when you're lower on the totem pole than the
I
big
think-
dogs, it's hard to stand up for yourself and not just.
Fuck yes.
I mean, it really is. And
Yeah.
so now he's got more of a voice. And
Oh, I mean, I think even when I started doing this way back in 2013 when Mike Clark was here and stuff, you know, I bet if I listened back to that, I wonder how much I talked at times. Probably not a lot.
probably not a ton.
I would have probably felt like
no, that
and
would have been
I would've
Mike
felt
and
like-
I doing a show
Yeah.
and you pitching in where you could.
I guess,
Just-
right. Like
yeah.
literally feeling like he almost had to be like spoken to almost probably.
Yeah, you've always been really good at knowing your place, though. You really
Pretty
have.
nervous. Yeah, I don't like to. I try not to be the guy
Yeah.
that just starts talking. But
My voice is still shit.
Yeah, it's
I don't
crazy.
know what to do. It's embarrassing. It's almost to the level of humiliating when this is what you do for a living, when you talk for a living.
yeah,
And your voice is
that is
cached
crazy. That's a
for-
long time to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not doing too hot. I will say, for whatever it's worth, by the way, I only listened to two of the ones, I guess. Most of the two, the Wednesday, Thursday, or however you record
Tuesday,
them.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday,
So
Wednesday.
you
So, I did Tuesday, Wednesday. Really good, man. I fucking loved it. I found myself laughing.
Good,
Really,
good.
the chemistry was there for whatever that's worth. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever that means coming from me. It was. I thought I was great. I thought you were good. Really
you.
good shit, man. It was fucking fun.
Yeah,
listen to
the listener response was overwhelming. They blew up my stuff. And
Yeah.
No, I
DMs
was
and
at the-
friend requests and all that, and that was really cool.
I was listening because I told you before I didn't listen to all of them because I don't. My life doesn't lend myself to 2.5 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm not at a
Yeah.
desk. I'm not in a cubicle, whatever.
Not on
But
the road.
Right. I'm not on the road. Even the job I do. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But like, so I was at the gym. That's when I listened. When I went to the gym,
Yeah.
I knew I had an hour and a half each of those days I could dedicate to listening. And I found myself laughing,
Yeah.
laughing at the gym. And I'm not. After doing this a long time,
Yeah.
I'm a little more jaded, you know, where
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily,
Yeah.
and then you've done even longer, so I'm not trying to compare myself, but
Oh, I get
but
it.
when you do it more 5 days a week for that long and
Yeah.
stuff like that, I'm not that guy necessarily anymore.
Right.
But I found myself legit like on the treadmill,
Good.
kind of like,
That's-
that's funny, dude.
I heard that from a lot of people. I don't remember anything. The four dick anal.
Yeah, I remember.
that was
that-
fucking funny.
That was funny.
That was
That
good.
was
Yeah.
fucking funny.
It felt funny in the moment.
I'm gonna need that link from Drew, by the way. The gay one, not the straight one.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
No, that
Thank
whole
you.
discussion, not to just sit here and have a discussion about a discussion, but the whole discussion of like what constituted 4 dicks and the idea of getting screwed over
Yeah.
because of fucking
One's
dildo on a
plastic.
stick. and-
Yeah, one's a
Very
dick on a
fucking
stick.
funny.
Like, yeah, that
Very
doesn't
fucking
count.
funny.
And it seems smaller than the others. Like it was,
No,
it was a stretch. There was some funny stuff. It's a totally different animal following someone else's lead as opposed to
Right.
having people follow your lead and what you've picked. And it became really apparent that our shows are very different. So it has me a little worried because our show's a little darker.
Yeah.
Than
Yeah.
that show. That show's a little lighter, a little fun.
But see, I see that as a good thing with this show because
yeah.
Drew Mike's great, but there's some topics where you can tell that they dance around a little bit more.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
just like, yeah, fuck those people.
Yeah, I tend to be a little darker, and I kind of attract that. So there's probably, hopefully there's new people checking us out, like
Welcome
going
to
on a show
Drew and
like
Mike
that.
After Dark.
What's
I
that?
said, welcome to Drew and Mike After Dark.
Yeah, exactly. And so I imagine some of them are going to be appalled at some of the conversations, but whatever. And there's some that are. I actually leaned over to Bentley at one point. I was like, "What's with all the fucking homo comments?"
Yeah.
Like I forgot about so much of that.
Yeah.
Like get in a room. You two need a room.
Right,
You want to
right.
have a 4-way kiss. Like all that shit. I haven't thought about in
Yeah.
years and years and years. And it's like
That's interesting.
You talk to Bentley. You look at Bentley or Drew, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you guys want to make out? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's like a radio show in the early
That's
2000s.
Yeah, it felt like we're going back, and there were a lot of people that said that, like, wow, this took me back to high school, and I totally get that feeling, that
Yeah.
nostalgia feeling. It's kind of weird how we're conditioned like that. Like,
Yeah. there's
now I
something
see a
about
really
things-
old car, and it's like,
I like
can-
it because it's old.
Yeah, I can flash back to like being in some tiny neighborhood as a kid and seeing a truck like that with that paint
Nostalgia
color.
is a
like,
very powerful drug, as they
it
say.
really is,
I mean,
man.
it's look what happened. Like just as a dumb example, the Pistons uniforms, right? The teal uniforms. They came out back in the day. They were kind of a joke. Most people didn't seem to like them.
I hated
They
them.
went away, And then 10 years later, dude, they got very popular to the point where they bring him back a few games last year, but the court back and people would. I wore my Joe Dumars to fucking an EDM festival in Miami.
Yeah, and
I was
loved
getting
it.
comments left and right about it.
Yeah.
So it's just whatever reason, that's how it goes. Sometimes.
Yeah, because there was probably a ton of kids at that time
that watched a video game maybe or something.
Oh yeah, and remember that logo, and it's been gone for 20 years. And so
you take something away, there's just something about it, even if it was bad at the time.
Yeah, which it was. I hated that Like, it's one thing if your team has historically shit uniforms, and then you change it up. Like, and the NFL's done a pretty good job with that, but. The NBA, the Pistons have such a classic,
right?
You know, they're a storied franchise, and kind of it's like you don't need to have a fucking teal uni and the horse on it. Like all of it seems stupid to me. But
funny. I went to the very first game those debuted, the home opener, and whenever that was, 94, 95 or something.
Yeah.
And I wish I could remember because I don't remember whether I liked him or not. I really don't. I remember later making jokes about it, like afterwards, kind of like, oh, the teal uniforms.
Yeah.
But I don't remember, my actual reaction. I think as a kid, I probably might have liked it. Just stupidly new, something
if you were
new.
a little kid, you would have liked it.
Something new.
Absolutely.
So, no, it was good shit, man, for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody that reached out to me and commented, and the amount of new Facebook requests and Twitter followers, like all that stuff is.
I expect to see your names on the Patreon soon.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I'll say this, and I don't know take this for what it's worth. It's nothing against you, or them, because as I said, I don't tend to listen to a lot of stuff because I just don't have the time. I'm not in a car like that. So I haven't listened to Drew's show in a while. He's my hero too. Growing up, he was right on the show that I liked, and hearing even like me not having listened in a while, it was. He's just fucking fun. Like, it's just a good combination, man.
Yeah.
It's really good shit.
Yeah.
Dude.
And
just so fucking witty, smart. Still keeps up with shit. You can just tell, dude. I don't know how old he actually is at this point, but he doesn't still yet
dude,
seem
I was gonna
like
say,
old man.
I was thinking it as we were sitting there.
It doesn't seem like
this
Dick Clark.
This dude hasn't aged at all. Like, it's almost very Trumpian how most people go into the White House and they age 100 years and 4.
Right.
And Trump, it's like, what's going on?
Lost weight.
This guy doesn't look like he's aged like that, like it's taken its toll. Hold on. And Drew is the same way to me. I look at him, I'm like, this could have been 2013. He looks the same, dresses the same, acts the same.
Well, and it's not like I said, it's not like Dick Clark at all. Like, to me, I'm sure he's not fucking sitting there legit, like, up on whatever TikTok hashtag or whatever the fucking new shit is. I'm not sure he's not fucking uploading TikTok videos, but you can tell like he doesn't seem out of date as much as he should be for his age, probably.
And I'll tell you this too, I wasn't at all nervous. Like there's even times when I'm doing a show and it's like a new studio, new show, new environment. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to add, or how these people are going to use me, or how the interview is going to go, or whatever. Right. And they always end up going fine. But, I was fucking nervous going into Anthony Cumia's studio for the first time. It's like, holy shit. Fair. This is a legend too. And it couldn't have gone any better. I mean, he was fucking awesome. Amazing guy. Super talented. Reminds me of Drew a lot, honestly. The two of them are very similar in their memories and their impressions, like everything they do. Normal World was another one going in there. It's like I wasn't really nervous because I've been with Dave so many times.
That could be,
but it's a totally different environment.
I'd say once you get into that studio, like they have a big, like the Blaze studio.
Oh, it's massive.
It's massive.
Yeah.
It's like once I get in there, I'd start feeling intimidated. It's one thing going to some guy's house just shooting the shit with them, but
and it's a different layout.
They got a production.
Like it's huge and it's like sets. There's like TV sets, so you go in there and it's like it's meant to look like this, but it's really just a built set. Yeah. Where this is just in my house.
Right.
But I wasn't nervous at all going over to Drew's.
Nice.
Not at all. And went in there and it was like I've said it before, but it's like that when you have friends that maybe you went to college together, went to high school together, and then you haven't seen each other in 10 years, but then, hey, we all got together for Thanksgiving break and hung out. It was like we picked up the conversation right where we were like, it's exactly how it felt with Drew.
Nice.
Just super
easy. It came across
easy.
like that, I would say. That's what I would say, too.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell. You know how it is. You could chemistry. You can't fake it.
No.
You have it or you don't.
Exactly. There seems to be a lot of, I don't know, picky people out there that don't, I don't know what they expect from people or what they want. But it's everybody having a thought on like
it's just the internet.
weird.
It's what we have with having the internet. Everyone has been given a voice, and they're allowed, every single person is allowed, like as if you're gonna curate a whole show, like what to 10,000 people. How many people should you do it for? 100? Do 100 people get to give their? And so if that's
it's weird. I don't remember really. Like you had to really go outside the norm or say something egregious to have people be like, and really pitch a bitch and write an email. And we had email for most of the time I was on Joe Mike shows. So but here it's just like with Facebook, with Twitter, it's like I can't even listen. Blah, blah, and you're like. Okay, dude.
I can't even fathom.
It's just fucking. It's weird.
I can't fathom it. I can't fathom.
No, I can't fathom writing to somebody.
Yeah.
But then I mean, if that's something you'll never do in your life, you'll never be in a studio doing something like that for other people's pleasure and enjoyment. If you'll never have that opportunity and you know it, the best you can do is just shit on other people, and it's like okay, whatever. I mean, it's. I've read it all and seen it all over the years, so you're not really gonna.
You're not gonna bother somebody who does this for a living.
No, you're not. But it's still noticeable, just like the gay stuff. Like, you two need to get a room, and it's like, maybe it's just a bad joke, and I don't get it because it's like, okay, we're just having a conversation about a story.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
I know.
It's just.
It's what it is, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
teach their own.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody listens different and everybody hears things differently. So,
and I should say, it's funny. I called in sports radio a few times as a kid and stuff like that. So I'm not like saying I would never reach out. I don't get reaching out and shitting on people is what I don't understand. I don't understand that. I understand someone texting it, oh, dude, love the conversation today. That makes sense to me. Just fucking.
Well, I'm just of the firm belief, like, if I'm listening to something and I'm like, I have no problem just going, not for me today, and just bouncing.
Well, here,
but I have no interest in like pointing out to them like, oh, no, I can't even do it. It's like, no, if it's not for you, move along. Fast forward 15 minutes. You find something you like.
I'll give you an example, and I'm not trying to. What it is, it doesn't matter. So the one episode when you got into the 50 best songs or whatever,
500 best
500 best songs.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fuck that.
That's going to be take it or leave it for a lot of people.
And you know what? It's not a big deal. I just heard it. I go, dude, I know they got 2.5 hours here. I got a minimal amount of time. I'm going to listen. I just boom.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I went about 40
You
minutes.
would have known none of the song titles anyways. You're not a big song title guy. So I don't think of you as like someone who's going to nail down like who's in a band and what their hit songs were.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm no big enough. It doesn't matter. But my point is, though, I would never even considered being like, I like the show, but, you really have to get on. No, especially these days. Especially these days.
Yeah.
You're not talking on the old day where you're at work and you're like, man, this is my half-hour lunch break and this is what they got to talk about or something.
Yeah.
Dude, you literally have control of how much you listen to.
Yeah.
Maybe that day the show's only 2 hours for you. Oh, well.
Yeah. Seems simple enough.
What is the difference?
Again, I think it's the people that will never be in that position to participate. And so this is their way of participating.
I actually had a pretty good example of this. Tuesday, one of my coworkers told me, hey, I tried out that show you were talking about that you said you were on and stuff, because I was trying to promote it a little bit at work. And he goes, I didn't like any of it. It was just a bunch of stuff I didn't agree with. And he's full-on lefty. Nice guy, great guy, full-on lefty. He didn't like the show, but he didn't write in. He didn't give me a bunch of shit for the show. He just said, definitely not something for me, but good luck with your show. I'm like, hell yeah, man. Thank you.
That's fine.
I'm like, that is about the level of aggression you should have towards something like that.
I have no problem with that. I understand we're not for everybody.
Exactly.
I understand Drew's show's not for everybody, and neither is any show you've ever listened to.
Right.
Exactly.
Not for everybody.
You mean we don't all like every band ever? I mean, like, that's fucking ridiculous, dude.
Silly.
Anyway.
So, anyways, thanks. I don't know if Drew and I will do that again. Maybe if they have an opening somewhere. I know a lot of people are speculating this.
I was about to say, I've heard some rumbles that we're joining shows now.
Right. There's all kinds of. Plenty of people wrote to me and with those speculations too. I swear to God, it was nothing more than Drew was like, "Hey, Mark and Trudy are out for the week. You want to do these shows?"
Right.
I think you guys made a joke about like opening your own studio with every show in it, and that's it. I think that's as far as it went.
Yeah, Drew had mentioned that. It's like, yeah, let's talk, whatever. I'd be up for whatever, I love those guys. And worked with them and worked well with them for many, many years. So, I wouldn't, anything they wanted to discuss or Drew specifically, of course I'd be up for talking to him about it. But, there's no plans like, oh, yeah, you'll come in once a week or, you'll fill in. And I did say that I wanted to have Bentley and Brandon over.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and I talked to them a little off the air, so I'll schedule that at some point, get them over.
I hope that happens soon.
Why? Oh, while you're here?
Yeah, I would love to be there for that.
Yeah, for sure. Give me a couple weeks and we'll nail it down. But yeah, we'll do something like that. It's fun. It's fun crossover, and entertaining people are great. So, getting some inside baseball and stories from the inside are great because they're not going to tell a lot of those stories, but on their own show. But it could be a lot of fun. Anyways, how was all your weekends?
No, it's not bad.
Anything fun?
Nothing at all.
It sucks without football. I got to be honest. I know you're not a football guy, Garrett, but oh boy.
I've rolled right along into the next. The Wings are doing good now, so I have the Wings.
Yeah.
NASCAR's going. Got NASCAR going.
God, shoot me in the face. NASCAR. I'm sorry.
It's a great finish, Mike.
Yeah.
One of the
Did they go right?
Awesome.
3 fucking cars right at the end there within like hundredths of a second, thousandths of a second, something like that.
Did they go left around the track or right around the track? That's why I'm
left.
All right, left. So did they go left and then make another left?
They did.
And they made another left?
Did.
Awesome.
They did.
I thought you were done with NASCAR, by the way.
I kind of just you know what? To be honest with you, I'm realizing that I'm trying to hang out with a few people more often. I do a lot of just sitting at home. So it was my buddy Chubbs. He still watches, and so it's an excuse to kind of, hey, dude, you watching the race this week? I'll come over. Yeah. So I mean, I don't watch weekly anymore, but I'll watch.
So it's like golf for guys in their 50s. They're not going anywhere with it, but it's a good excuse to drink.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, get away from their wives. There's a lot of that.
It was good
which
shit.
I get. That's cool. If you got something out of it, good for you.
I'm just realized, like I said, my own self, I needed to hang out. I need to hang out with some people more often than just staying at home. I always get caught in this thing where I just want to save money, and I'm like, I gotta fucking stay home. So I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it was a good weekend though.
Good.
Watch some NASCAR.
Some what?
NASCAR.
Yeah. I watched SNL for the first time in years. As far as I'll go with SNL, for the most part, is the Weekend Update, and especially when they write jokes for each other, where they go across
those are
the
genuinely
line.
funny.
Yeah, that's like, oh, this is like old school shit where you bust it on
your goal is to be funny.
To be funny, exactly. And it comes through in those moments where it's kind of like they all take the DEI gloves off and they have fun.
Exactly.
And it's awesome. It's great. They're not pushing an agenda. They're not, and so that's fun. But Shane Gillis was hosting this weekend. And I think Shane's great. You think Shane's great.
Yeah.
His comedy specials are fantastic.
100%.
He's, just a Midwestern guy, you can tell. And he's funny as shit. And everybody knows the story with him, being hired by SNL and then booted.
What is the reasoning? How do you reason that? Because he's fired because of things he said and he's racist and whatnot. What is the reasoning why he's allowed to come back and host?
Yeah,
because it was on the show.
It was a fraudulent decision in the first place. That's why. It was based in nothing. So,
from accounts I've heard that Lorne Michaels actually did like him and everything that he's done beforehand, and it went above Lorne's head.
I think Shane played it well too. Shane really, he's talked openly about reflecting on that time in the moment and like, God, am I the bad guy here? And he wasn't. He wasn't. But the fact that he would even say that, like, God, because I've had those moments. I think it makes you human where you're like, God, I got into a fight with this guy about this, and we went round and round and round. What was my fault in that? How could I have handled that differently? How could I have been a better person and not had it go down this road? I see it, I try my best at times to take other people's perspective and really like, what are they saying here? Where are they, what is their actual gripe, or what are they, is there any validity to their argument? And that's very hard to do.
No, for sure.
And hearing him say stuff like that, It's a good question, though, E, as to why he would be allowed
If
back
you think
on.
about it,
It's
like-
been a year. I
No.
mean, it's not like it's been 10 years.
That's it. It's
and
only been a year.
year,
been like
year and
2
a
or
half.
three.
Okay.
Whatever it's
Okay.
been.
Okay.
Well, maybe. Was it 2020?
Looking it up now.
Something
But
like
sort
that.
of, I guess, sort of like too, like unless you'd come out and said,
2019.
turns out I was racist. And I'm sorry, but that's not really okay. The actual woke crowd, from what I can tell, doesn't matter if you say you're sorry.
No, they don't.
You're wrong forever. So
Right,
I don't
right.
know that he could have done anything technically.
No.
To the Twitter crowd.
No.
The X crowd.
He absolutely could not. There's nothing he could come out
So,
and say.
it's
No
just-
matter how sincere, he'd still be.
So it's just kind of like.
So the best thing you could do is just be like, okay. And he didn't whine about it. He didn't cry about it. He just moved forward with his career.
Yeah.
And Garrett and I were talking before the show, and it's like, yeah, no question, best thing that ever happened to him.
Oh, 100%.
And we kind of knew it at the time too. Shane was starting to break through, and now it's like, I watched those skits from SNL this weekend, and I'm assuming neither of you watched it.
I watched a few on YouTube actually. 'Cause
Did you?
Yeah, because when I saw the name,
Yeah.
I said I think that's that guy that Mike and Garrett were talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll watch it.
Yeah,
So I
what'd
watched
you
a few
think?
sketches. I don't know what to think about the monologue. I'm interested in what your take is. I don't know. If
Yeah,
that was, I don't know kind of what was happening there.
Well, he
Like,
was trying to
was
address.
but was he not really getting laughs? Like, were they piping in laughs then? Because like he kept acting as if nobody was laughing.
Yeah, I know.
And yet you heard laughter. So I don't know how SNL works.
Well, it was weird. And I know it's the big topic of conversation, and we're not breaking any news here, but the fact that the band was stone-faced behind him, especially the chick playing
100%.
guitar. That chick playing guitar was like, I will not budge
Yeah.
in the look on the scour on my face.
Yeah.
I'm not going to show you anything else. And that's what she presented. And it was like,
Right.
okay, this is some Manhattanite libtard that is absolutely not.
Yeah.
She, I will be a professional. I will show up and I
doesn't
will
believe in
string
forgiveness,
my
by the way.
guitar. Hell no. No way does she believe in forgiveness. And God knows she's probably never even
I'm sure she's
looked into
perfect.
Shane Gillis. It's probably just libtard circles have told her.
Yeah.
Shane does this.
Yeah.
And he's that.
He's doing it this week.
Yeah.
You know why he got fired,
He got
right?
fired because he's racist. He hates Asian people and he hates the gays. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So you let other people research for you, and you don't take anything in context that it was delivered, and
Yeah.
whatever. So there was definitely that, which you don't see very.
So I just honestly,
usually
I didn't
they're
know.
back there howling with laughter,
yeah.
and it's like, okay, so they're going to treat him like that. Maybe that's what he was
So
feeling.
I didn't really know because I watched it, like I said, I was just like, I don't understand. Are they really not laughing, or
Well, they were.
And maybe there were people up front that weren't, and
He was addressing the elephant in the room, like him being fired.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny when he's like, if you're not aware, don't Google it.
That was funny.
Don't Google
Yep.
it.
I agree.
Yeah, because the hit pieces were fast and furious. They were coming at him and they wanted him, whatever.
I did like the comments. When I went into the comments, because I didn't know who the singer. I've heard the name 21 Savage, to be honest with you, but I didn't know any songs. And I
Fast forward right through him.
Oh, I know.
But I liked the people were like, oh, Shane Gillis, all this about Shane Gillis or whatever, but it's okay for this guy to fucking sing about fucking murdering people and cocaine.
I said 21 Savage got extradited to the UK for a while for a bunch of crimes that he committed. Like, he's not a good
Really?
guy,
That's okay, I guess.
Where are they
but-
from? Are they Americans? or-
21 is just one guy. He's a rapper. He's an American rapper, but then it came out that he was actually a British guy. And so now he's a British American rapper, and that's because that didn't come out until he got arrested for a bunch of crimes that he was up for in the UK.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, I didn't know anything about him. I
but it was
didn't
just-
watch his set.
You're not missing much. He's terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure, and that seems like a prerequisite now to get on SNL. Is you have to be unheard of and
Oh, no, he's very famous. He's just terrible.
yeah, and have not much talent. I don't know. I don't even try to explain myself anymore. It's like, yeah, I'm done until that next wave comes in of music where you actually have real good musicians playing. Like, I'm just not interested.
There he is. He's up there with the face tattoos, just like Posty.
Yeah.
I will say I watched a few sketches. I don't know. I've to me on some of them, but I liked the one, for what it's worth, the one he did where they were at the HR thing, and it was about whether you could date coworkers.
Yeah.
That was fucking funny
Yeah,
to
that was
me.
pretty funny.
That
Yep.
was like I was
Yep.
laughing at.
Did you like the floor?
No,
I didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
I
Maybe I
didn't-
don't watch the floor. Maybe that's why.
Is that an actual show?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it had a weird ending. So it was basically like they would flash like a, what is it, like not Pictionary, but one of those games where it's like they just give you a celebrity face or something. You have to say who it is.
Like Guess Who?
Yeah. But then it gets to, and he nails it. He's the returning champion.
Right.
And then it's like, they bring in the black girl and she can't identify. And so he wins that. And then they get to him for the third round or whatever. And they're flashing like super famous black faces. And he can't name any of them.
But he's like, I love their work, but I can't.
Yeah.
Don't know
Oh my God, I'm freezing. And
I guess I'm sure the joke was that he's racist, but I didn't really get it.
I didn't get it either. I'm trying to think. So the first sketch. Well, no, it wasn't the first sketch. I don't know. I don't know what the point was, and it seemed like a really weird ending to that bit. And sometimes they have trouble closing a bit.
I get it. I think sometimes the endings aren't even that important, really. As long in their mind, if you get the jokes in, it doesn't really matter necessarily.
It seemed weird.
It's not a movie.
So the floor contestant, desperately trying to convince others that he actually can identify famous black people, just not under pressure.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that was a real thing. Usually there's some.
I think
there's some reality to the premise that makes it work, right? And it's usually stereotypes, so you can lean on a stereotype. Asians are bad drivers, and then you go from that starting point, and the jokes fall into line, and it's like, who hasn't seen that? We've all seen that before,
right?
This idea of, I know who these black famous people are, but I can't identify them under pressure.
They should have just leaned into it.
I don't know what the fuck that even means. I've never heard of that as a thing. Maybe I'm too old. It's just
the other thing is, like, after that, they should have thrown in some real. And who am I? Now I'm about to tell SNL, I guess, whatever. But like, they should have almost thrown in, I feel like, some real obscure, like, because they were doing artists, and it was like these really famous, or not artists,
whatever, Starry Night,
Oprah and shit. It's like, and then why not then throw like a white dude in that's like super obscure, but he knows it somehow. He knows him or her somehow. That's
kind of funny.
He knows this fucking.
I had another.
Nobody heard band, but he doesn't know.
What's
Oprah.
that?
I had a different rewrite. What if he just labeled every single black celebrity as like Chris Rock or something? Just every time.
Oh, they all
Chris
look
Rock,
the
and
same.
They all look the same. That's the joke.
Too.
You could have just is right there.
Yeah,
I would have laughed at that.
That's not terrible. That would be too on point, and they would probably find that the black stereotype. Yeah. What about going to the high school reunion, and he's the former bully of Forrest Gump?
I didn't watch them all, so I only watched like a few. But so I didn't see that one, unfortunately. But
you're dork white guy that peaked in high school.
Okay,
you're Al Bundy.
Yeah.
And he goes back to school and he thinks he's still hot shit.
Okay.
At the reunion,
and then like Forrest Gump is there.
Forrest Gump comes in as one of the classmates,
hero.
But he has no idea who Forrest Gump is. He hasn't seen the movie. He hasn't.
Oh my God!
And so he's like, "Look at that dork Forrest! I can't believe Forrest showed up at this. Ooh, mama, like he was like that.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was kind of funny, the premise, and they give out awards for like most successful.
And of course, Forrest is winning.
He thinks he's going to win it, but Forrest wins it, and he's blown away by it.
That's a good idea.
It's not bad.
I saw, whatever. I didn't watch it, but.
And then there was, I don't know. There was a couple others. I thought him in the beginning too, when he was finishing up the monologue, and he's like, "Hey, look, man, I don't know. I'm sorry. There's not much of my material will work on SNL." Yeah, you're like, yeah, exactly. No, it won't. The Trump shoes.
Yeah.
The making a parody, that was pretty quick for those shoes for $400 or whatever, those ugly ass gold.
Yeah, those weird gold American flags.
Yeah,
they look like Trump designed them.
Yeah, but it doesn't. And the premise is it doesn't make you good. It makes you as think you're great, like Trump does.
Okay, I can see that. So instead of like Air Jordans make you jump, it's like
it's like they just give you the feeling of.
So then, if you're wearing them, you're just walking around like I'm the fucking shit.
Yeah, and you can say anything,
and
and people are like, "Well, I guess he is," and it's like he takes a shot. They're like, "You airballed the shit out of that." He's like,
"Best shot ever,
best shot, nailed it."
So what's funny is what happened here, by the way, as far as me watching was, because I just watched it on YouTube the next day. I watched the monologue. I actually didn't even finish the monologue because it was just weirdly awkward for me, and I don't know. So I didn't.
Well, you're weirdly.
You didn't know the situation
either.
either.
I know, but I'm just saying. I kind of was like, okay, whatever. And I watched the floor, and I was like, I watched the one I liked, and then for whatever reason, I didn't watch any more. The other two
Yeah.
you've described actually sound kind of funny to me.
Yeah,
But
I can
didn't-
show
but
them to you after the show if you want.
Yeah, but I didn't move on for whatever reason.
We could play some of this stuff, but as
Yeah.
Isis knows, that'll get you booted
YouTube
immediately.
and Saturday Night Live is very copyright hungry.
toxic. Yeah. They do go on. Bowen Yang is the gay Asian, the Gaysian
Okay.
on the show. And he's the, big deal because he was the first Asian hired by SNL, whatever. And he was part of the 2019 cast that Shane Gillis was supposed to be a part of.
Gotcha.
And so he's never said anything about Shane being hired and 4 days later shit canned. He's
Yeah.
never made any comments about it. He's become associated with the Gillis controversy because they were brought in together,
yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Any speculation that Yang might boycott Gillis's episode in protest was debunked by the third sketch, in which the two appeared together. Viewers also spotted just before the telecast ended the two sharing what looked like a sincere embrace on stage. It should be noted that when Dave Chappelle was on, Yang stood on the other side of the stage.
Yeah.
He was,
Well, nobody can
because
touch Chappelle.
What's that?
Untouchables.
Yeah, the trans stuff.
Yep.
I mean, God forbid he goes after the trans stuff. Here's what I'll say about Bowen Yang. I think he's dreadful on the show. That's just my personal opinion.
yeah.
I don't find him funny. The fact that he's a gay Asian, gay as fuck is all he can do
Yeah.
on that. Okay? I would find it patronizing if I was a gay guy. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Garrett.
No, I get it.
But it's like this. Every fucking sketch has to be over the like. Great, you hired a gay guy. Is he the best comedic voice on there that you can
Is he
have
funny at all?
representing? Is he funny to me? So the message that they're sending is the only gay people we can have are over the top Yaz Queen, fucking just outwardly queenish
My
gays.
least favorite kind of gay.
Your least favorite kind of gay, my least favorite kind of gay.
Everyone's least favorite
So
kind of gay. To be
if we
honest.
find out down the road that, yeah, this cast member has been here all this time and he's gay, I'd be like, bravo.
Cool.
Great. He didn't lean on the fact that he's gay.
Yeah, if he had a whole career and then comes out like, oh, my husband and I are doing this, I'd just be like, oh, fucking good for you, man.
or halfway through the first season.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Nobody would care.
Nobody would care. They really wouldn't. I just don't think we're living in a day and age where people are going to go, oh my God, someone in entertainment is gay? How dare they? Like, what are you, fucking joking?
Unheard of.
It's, yeah.
Never been done before.
Like, you'd be more shocked if they came out and you were like, it turns out he's straight. And you'd be like, wow, all these entertainers.
That fag?
Yeah, all these like Broadway skilled,
Yeah.
trained actors are straight. That's shocking. Like nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
But this idea to just queen it up as much as possible, it's like, how about you just hire someone really talented, and if they happen to be gay,
Cool.
great. But we don't hire people because they're gay. That seems borderline illegal. And so I've never seen anything, and maybe it's because I'm not part of the Queenie fucking,
I'm not in there either.
outlandishly over the top gay community. Maybe they're finding him absolutely hilarious. Maybe that community that
They usually
specific-
do.
that
I think your
love
own
him.
community really sticks by you.
Yeah, and that could be, and it might just be me. Like, I don't care that he's gay.
Yeah.
I never would have cared that he's gay. But to me, it's like I don't know these.
No, because I've had other gay
People, I
people send
don't-
me comedians and other comics like, hey, this guy's gay and he does stand-up comedy. It's the funniest thing ever. You'll love this. And I'll get through 10, 15 minutes and I hate every minute. It's just
Yeah.
like, okay, so his whole joke is, I'm gay.
Yeah.
That's the whole joke.
Yeah, and it seems like you better be broader than that.
Yeah, it's like, you got to have some cool stories or something. Like, tell me a story about your life or something.
Yeah.
A funny anecdote, anything. Just,
I don't know. I don't know if you have a take on that, if you at all, but
It
just
yeah, I mean,
it's
we're gonna
what
go
we're
round and round.
dealing with.
It's my take is that I agree with you, but it's like it just
Yeah.
doesn't bother me as much as it
Yeah.
bothers you. I know
Well,
it's a tired old take on my end, but that's kind of where I am with it.
It bothers me only because I know there's better people out there that are funnier, that are probably way more deserving. And it's like, if it comes down to it, are we going for the ultimate funny? Or are we going to be
But that's it.
representative of everything?
But they're not. It's SNL. They're going for what they're going for, and if that's what they're going for,
well,
that's what they're going
but they
for.
didn't. That wasn't what SNL was for 47 straight years.
But they changed maybe. I mean, I'm just saying, if they
I know,
change,
but
then,
people that grew up with SNL for 40 years, that have watched the musical acts, that have watched the talent come through there, and it's like, this is based solely on their talent. They had funny as fuck women, funny as fuck men, and ones that don't break through and are deemed like, they blow them out.
Yeah.
They just blow them out. And now it's like, oh, I see what we're doing. We have to have 3 lesbians and a fucking flamboyantly gay guy. And I think it shows. I think to me, it's obvious what they're doing. And it's like, you're not going for the ultimate comedy. That's just my humble opinion.
Well, yeah. And even then, if you.
That's probably true. And they would never say it. That's probably true.
But is that good?
It's on them. People aren't really watching as much.
No, I know.
Very popular.
Viewership's down. I think they're going to start eating. I think that's my whole thing on why they brought Shane Gillis back is because now I think they're just like Bud Light had to bring Shane Gillis in to fix their problem. I feel like they're realizing like, hey, maybe fucking with these white guys just because they're white is not a good idea because that's the majority of our audience here.
Maybe. Well, it was historically, for sure.
I mean, who is the audience of SNL in reality anymore?
Well, I think the audience was pleasantly was happy with the content. Now, they've had casts before that didn't work really, but where it was like a bad hiring, of a cast, and it just didn't kind of work, and they flamed out after a year or two.
Oh,
We've seen that, but for the most part, the country stood behind SNL as like a staple of the arts community, and it was like something. It was water cooler talk on Monday mornings when you had a good SNL show, and it was like, holy shit, that Debbie Downer sketch. Oh my God, was that hilarious. Did you see what Will Ferrell did or what Adam Sandler did?
Like, especially with guys like Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, Chris Farley, just go down the list.
Yeah,
it was almost like who's going to be in the movies next? Like, what are the next round of comedy movies going to be?
Right.
Because usually it was whatever SNL was starting up.
But also, people, regularly just always say that things are better in the day. Like when Adam Sandler was in that crowd, there was a lot of people saying it wasn't. This cast sucks.
100%. I understand that.
And I know that's not the same going on here, by the way. That's not what's going on
here.
It's
that same feeling, that overwhelming feeling I have of something being forced. That's all. And I try to. And what have I done with SNL? I literally haven't watched an episode in years. I just stopped. I was like, no, I see what you're trying to do, and you're not going to pander to me like that.
I think the last time I even looked up clips of SNL was when Elon Musk was on, and that was years ago.
Yeah, I don't even think I watched that one. It's got to be like, oh, Eminem's the musical guest, and I'm like, all right, I'll tune in and I'll fast forward through it, and I'll check out Eminem.
But
honestly,
check it out.
Going back to your point about like everyone thinks the cast before was better. That's true, and I remember having those feelings like this cast is okay, but they're not as good as the Sandler and the Farley and the Schneider group that came before him. And then quickly, it's like, no, this cast has some chops, and I don't have a problem with them. I will never look back at these current last few seasons of SNL's cast and be like, nah, they really were great. You know what? I just needed to give them a chance. I needed them to grow on me. No, the sketches seemed very forced, and they seem very they're preachy.
Sure.
They're very preachy, is what they are.
And I was gonna say, to Mike's point, give me that ding. It's one of those things where it's like going back in the past, I watch SNL from the 90s, early 2000s, like things way before my time, right? And I watch those because they're genuinely funny.
Yeah.
Like I'll watch old Chris Farley bits, old Will Ferrell. Like I owned a Dodge Stratus for a while, so obviously I had to watch the Dodge Stratus sketches, right?
Yeah.
I still laughed at them.
Yeah.
I watch the current ones now, and I said, clips with the Elon Musk stuff. I can't watch them again. I don't care.
Yeah.
I have no interest in seeing. I don't even want to give the people a chance on it. It's just
yeah.
Real talent shows through, and real talent goes places after SNL, and that's what I go back and look at SNL for these timeless sketches.
And they're not always going to have a cast where, like, I don't know how many cast members there are, 10, 12, whatever it is.
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know what a normal cast is. I don't even know.
It's probably 10, 12 regulars, and then a handful of writers that
are able to make
appearances.
It. Yeah.
And not everyone on there's a heavy hitter, but they all had their place. Even if it was like they're always a small background character in these sketches, they all seem to kind of fit. I just don't get that feeling. That's me. And if this is one of the greatest casts ever, I suppose
we should know that I'm not arguing that is.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not arguing that. I don't watch, but actually that's not totally true. I was going to say I do still pretty regularly on Sunday mornings because I do when I'm just sitting in my car waiting for stuff. I will check out honestly little clips, but I'm talking like a clip or two if I know who the host is. If I hear who the host is, someone big. Now I haven't seen a lot of stuff I've liked in the last few years, but I have checked it out like I would say once a month at least, I'll have found myself watching clips from the night before. Now, not liking most of it, but watching
you could
it.
still go back and watch some of those legendary skits from the past.
I've seen them
where
all.
it's like real talent's there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Also, they have a cast size of 17 members.
Is that like a number they go with every time? Or
Not
is
every time. It just kind of ebbs and flows throughout each season. So it's currently 17 members. Ebbs and flows, my bad.
Thank you.
With 12 repertory players and 5 featured.
Okay, yeah. So 12 featured guys. That
like 12 guys who
they're the ones whose names are going to do in the credits.
But SNL, but technically SNL doesn't owe anyone or anything. They only
well,
owe
here's what I'll say about it. Part of it could be this. Our whole lives are not yours, but definitely the majority of mine and most people listening to us right now. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have everybody with an iPhone capable of giving you 4K quality videos and editing skills, where every kid that's got a funny idea can film it with his buddies, and you see millions of them all the time. So what SNL put out for that hour and a half on Saturday night, there were other sketch shows, Mad TV, and you had some other ones, but for the most part, that's what you got. Now you could go in the underground and find stuff and dig, but as far as the mainstream goes, that was like, what SNL put out there for sketch comedy was what you got.
Yeah.
And you got 8 sketches a week during a season. And now it's like, no, I can watch Normal World and go, oh my God, these motherfuckers here just smashed anything SNL could dream of doing. SNL cannot touch what Normal World's doing. Even with a bigger budget, even with more established actors, they cannot touch what Gillian Keeves are doing.
Oh, yeah.
Like Gillian Keeves on their worst sketch will fucking blow out the best thing SNL's done in 5 years.
No, I agree.
And that's just a fact. And there's lots of other sketch shows out there. Guys that are doing actual parodies of Joe Biden. Who's the guy that was doing the Biden one? And it was like, shit. What's that comedian's name? It's like half his face AI morphed with Biden's, and then he's got Ben Shapiro, but his Biden is fucking hilarious, and it's like no cast of SNL would have the balls to attack the approved narrative out there about what they can say about the current administration. These guys don't give a shit online, and they're bringing it home. And it's like, that's what SNL used to do. They used to be edgy, culty, kind of against the grain kind of feel to it, and that's just not there today. So it is what it is. We're seeing it everywhere, and it's always going to bother me. I know it doesn't irk you so much, Jesus, but that's
it's just how I am, I guess. But I agree, and trust me. By the way, for whatever it's worth, in my middle school and into high school years, 100% would watch SNL every Saturday.
Yeah.
I didn't even go out because I didn't have fucking go to parties or anything. So, but I would
lack of friends will do that.
I would. So
duty they hug.
So it's not like I'm some person who never had an affiliation with it. I used to 100% watch every fucking Saturday.
What was your cast? Was that like Sandler and them, or was it after?
I was in the Will Ferrell one mostly. I think Adam Sandler was a little before. Like I got into it pretty quickly, but I think Will Ferrell would be more like when I was probably in my prime, of like middle school-ish into high school, and 100% going in then,
So you would have been big with like Kristen Wiig and Amy Poehler.
Amy Poehler. You know who I fucking still love to this day? And anytime he's in a movie, he just plays. He's not a main guy. He just plays like some character roles. But Tim Meadows, man, Meadows
Tim's
is like
good.
Fucking my favorite. He always. Anything he does to me, because he's not a main character usually. He's just kind of like plays the teacher or
he's
something.
He's the principal in an Amy Poehler or Tina favorite.
I was going to say, that's the same thing with me and, what's his name? Bill Hader.
I love him
He's
too,
my
dude.
favorite
Bill
side
Hader's
character
great.
in anything.
Yeah. I remember watching Bill Hader's first episode. I vividly remember it because it stood out that much, and it was like, oh, this dude's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
It's like watching Jim
funny.
Carrey for the first time, and you go, holy shit, this guy is one of those performers where you just know it right away when you see it. And Bill Hader was that.
You see again, like that to me when you start talking. Now, if you want to reminisce, I can certainly do that. We talked to him on this show, but Chris Kattan, on that show, I love Chris Kattan.
Was he good on our show? I'm trying to remember that interview.
It was okay, but
he gave us like an hour.
Yeah, he was fine.
Yeah,
but like he was somebody who I fucking legit loved stuff he did. So yeah, I mean, it's what it is.
Goofy stuff, but
he's
had its place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also watched over the weekend. I watched some of the interview Joe Rogan had Kid Rock on.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And I was like, oh, I want to check that out. They're drinking Bud Lights, which was hilarious. And they got
Kid Rock address it.
Actually,
they what's that?
I was gonna say before we get on that, just a couple comments coming in.
Yeah.
Jeff York said, "Hired because he was gay, Mike. You will like him, or you are homophobic."
Yeah. That's how it feels. That's not a terrible comment by
that's
Jeff.
Exactly it.
He's right.
Cord says SNL was the counterculture. Now it is the establishment.
Yep. Very
Cliff
true.
Cook said The Ladies' Man is a great flick.
Yeah, that's Tim Meadows.
I forgot that where he actually is the main guy.
Oh, we had so many drops pulled from that. Oh, everything that came out of
but
his
he's
mouth.
just I just meant he's rarely the main guy. He tends to be a secondary character.
And he's good in those roles.
I fucking love it.
Connor on Facebook said, "Oh, cool, the Tard's back. These shows with Drew and Mike were great, though."
Thank you, Connor. I appreciate it.
And that's just the usual hellos, howdies.
Living in your head rent free.
And no fucking super chats.
Not yet. That's what I was going to say. If you guys
us.
want. Actually, you just said, can I buy you a fish sandwich? I'm assuming that's a clip from the Ladies' Man.
Probably. Probably.
It sounds like it could be.
Sounds like it could
referring
be.
to,
He's just throwing out quotes.
Yeah.
Throw in a super chat. I'll yell it next time.
Throw in a super chat. Exactly. What's so hard? Throw a couple bucks. I was just going to give these guys the money when it comes in. So if we can get at least a few dollars coming in, I just
actually don't do that because they don't want to give you the money.
I'll just give it all to Garrett.
There you go. Just say it's all going to me.
Don't say on the show you'll give me anything. That's a way not to earn any money.
I don't know how it works. I don't know how it comes in or what, but
no, you'll see the bump.
I don't know where we'll see the bump, but it doesn't matter if nobody fucking does it. So
that's why I just remind every once in a while.
So Kid Rock caused quite a dust up when he took his machine gun, AK-47, whatever it was, AR-15, to the cases of Bud Light, and he got. So Joe Rogan asked him at one point, "So what's it like being the dude who took out Bud Light?" And he says, "Man, I was just having fun, to be honest with you. I was pissed, but it wasn't like it was going to wreck my day, let alone my life. I was just kind of like, what the fuck are they doing?" And so that's when Dylan Mulvaney had the can or whatever in the bathtub, and Kid Rock did the social media post and said, "Fuck Bud Light, fuck Anheuser-Busch," and then lit up. I thought he said something in there too about those might have been blanks, but I could swear I remember those cases going up.
Yeah, those are not blanks.
Wouldn't do that, right?
I'm looking at the gun right now too. I want to say that's an MP5. I can see that front sight right there. So it's a 9mm.
All right.
But that is definitely a full auto.
Yeah. Oh, full audio, which is.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can get those full auto. They're about 30 grand.
Really? But aren't they highly illegal? I thought it was illegal.
No, if you got a certain license, you can get full autos as a private citizen.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a lot of money in licensing.
Yeah.
Which he has.
Well, yes, he does. He's got plenty, hundreds of millions. So he insists he wasn't the Pied Piper of the boycott. He admits that he was the face of it, throwing a tantrum with a machine gun. Wah, wah. They want to let guys play in girl sports. Wah, wah. But since the whole brouhaha, he's actually become friends with the Bud Light CEO, Brendan Whitworth, and two have even partied together. We've become friends. He's a great guy. After 5 minutes of talking to him. Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
He's like, I had no interest in destroying this company. And that's how a lot of us felt too. Like, Bud Light it was when they were established in St. Louis, a very American company that's been here forever. They do tons for charity. But sending a message in that moment felt okay. And that's kind of where Bob Ritchie, Kid Rock, stood on it. It was like, look, I thought it was bullshit. I voiced my opinion, but I held no grudges.
Yeah.
I don't want them to go bankrupt and out of business. But apparently the game has been now, everybody that's in Kid Rock's orbit, wherever he goes, if he's at a show, if he's at he's out on the town, whatever, people are trying to hand him Bud Lights.
Yeah, that's funny.
They're fucking with him all the time. He said, and then a truck pulled up at his house recently with 2 pallets of cases of Bud Light, like 1,000 cases of Bud Light.
Yeah.
And it was from the CEO or whatever at Bud Light. He's like, fuck it. So he said, it's crazy. My friends, they come over and I make them take like a couple of cases of beer with them. And they're so confused. It's like, why is Kid Rock giving us Bud
Right,
Light?
right.
I thought he hated Bud Light. And he's like, it's a long story. But anyway, he's a big fan of Shane Gillis. He's happy for Shane doing the stuff. I thought the interview was your typical Kid Rock interview, nothing crazy, except
Oh boy.
there was one part in there where even I was like, oh shit, that's not going to go over well. That's not going to go over well at all. And, you know, when you do, I've stayed as much out of the Israel, Palestine, Hamas.
Is that still going on, by the way?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And so if you're a student in a college around here, you're totally on Hamas's side. You hate Jews, apparently, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I'm ignorant enough about it that I just kind of stay out of it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not jumping into a 1,000-year-old squabble and trying to like make sense of it and all that.
It's
like
a lot of Holy Land debates, and I have no part of that.
You want to talk about Motley Crue or Saturday Night Live? I'm your guy.
So, somebody who hasn't really had a religion my whole life, I don't want to get into the holy wars yet.
Yeah, it's probably best that
Let
we
me
stay
pick my
out of
team
it.
first, then I'll jump in.
And I got the feeling Kid Rock is not super educated on this sort of thing.
Oh boy.
And you know, he at one point tries to get Joe Rogan to accept Jesus, and it's kind of weird.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. It's kind of weird. And Joe's like,
by the way,
nah, I'm good. I'm pretty good.
Not to look at. I'm not going to sit here and suggest. And by the way, the funny thing is the one thing I did hear you say only because you mentioned Jesus is the dude that sent you about a 20 paragraph thing about the Lord.
Oh, he said that multiple times.
Yeah,
but
I got it too.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Oh yeah. But the thing is, like, look, I'm not trying to be this guy. I'm not suggesting you can't live a life and change. Like, you know, very famously, I know you don't watch wrestling, but like Shawn Michaels of WWE was a super partier, super whack job, turned uber Christian. Yeah. That's okay. It's fine. It doesn't mean you're a hypocrite if you grow up. Having said that, it's always funny to me when somebody who's gotten very rich off maybe a certain album called Devil Without a Cause and about fucking and doing drugs, and then they've come around to the Christian part of it, and we have to all get like, oh, we all have to fucking convert now.
It's the hypocrisy in a.
I'm not trying to bash Kid Rock like that, but I'm just saying, like,
we've seen the same thing when an artist stops drinking and now they won't let alcohol sales at the menu. And you're like,
fuck that.
Hey, dude, just because you couldn't handle your
just because you killed the fun doesn't mean you have to kill my fun.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Like, oh, you were able to go absolute batshit crazy for 30 years,
live all the fucking shit.
Yeah, you've done everything
more than I could have done in a lifetime based on your situation, right? Like,
but I think Kid Rock's idea of Jesus is different than most. Like Kid Rock's, say
more
what you want about
Jesus him, if you will.
He strikes me as a Baptist.
He's more. I don't think he thinks God's gonna like look at you with you're gonna burn in hell because you did blow all the time or you fucked a ton of chicks. I don't think that's what Kid Rock feels. Jesus is worried about that our little human experiences here. But Kid Rock can rest easy because he's done tons for local charities.
I know.
He's always been a super giving, generous personality, whether you like it or not. I saw a thing going around this weekend, and they were like, "What? Did you see that?"
No, I'm sure.
It was Taylor Swift on stage hugging a kid who obviously had cancer or something, shaved head and wearing a hat in the front row, and like so. Here's something you'd never see at a Kid Rock or Jason Aldean show.
That's not true.
And I'm like, you 100% would. You would.
Further, man, Dave Grohl would bring the kid up on stage and have him play a song with the band.
Yeah, and
no, that's bullshit.
It's
absolute
bullshit. And it doesn't make any sense.
And that's not where I was going with the Kid Rock thing necessarily. I think he's a genuine person. I don't think, but it's just when you say he's trying to get Joe Rogan, to turn him to Jesus, and it's
you'll have to listen to it. It's like 5-minute song. I thought he was kidding at first, and then he's like, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and I believe he died for your sins and mine. You know what? I could introduce you to my pastor. I'm like, if Joe Rogan wants to go down that road, he'll go down that road. But
that's funny that he was just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, he actually was like, yeah, I'm
experience.
Good. But no, what was really like, ooh, that's not going to land well at all, and it hasn't. Is he's talking about Palestine and Israel, and he's like, man, I'm on Israel's side on this one, and fuck that, it's time. With those hostages they've taken, I would say something like, you have 24 hours.
Oh, boy.
You have 24 hours to give these hostages back. Otherwise, we're bombing the fuck out of you. And if we kill 30 to 40,000 civilians a day, blah, 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 then so be it. Until we get, and it was like, civilians. You couldn't have said, and you don't want to say kill 30 to 40,000 civilians.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of fucking
Mr.
people.
Richie.
That's a stadium full of people.
What was Rogan's response?
Rogan was like, oh, civilians. I mean, that's, he wasn't going to just. But, Kid Rock's getting hammered for it today. Not that he'll care.
No, I get that.
But it was like, I understand his point when it goes too far and you want to just like, this is unacceptable. You cannot just claim these hostages. God knows what they're going through.
Yeah.
But,
we need to be doing something
Kid Rock's
about it.
point is also these people are known to use civilians as human shields.
Right.
They've done it forever. And then they go, oh my God, look what the evil fucking colonizers or whatever did. Look what they did. They blew up a hospital and killed all these kids. And it's like, yeah, well, you shouldn't be using them during a war as human shields.
You are also
asshole.
storing soldiers in the hospitals with the innocent people.
Exactly. And that's well known that's gone on. And so for them, but Kid Rock, he sounded like me if I was trying to have an intelligent conversation.
Except he's on Joe Rogan and he's Kid Rock.
Except he's Kid Rock and he's talking to 11 million people.
Yeah.
Like, no. And that's why I kind of avoid it, because it's like, I don't know enough. I'm not afraid of the backlash, but I don't know enough about it to want to fucking really get involved. Now, I have my idea about whose side I'm on.
Same.
And that's me personally. And there's myriad reasons for that. But I don't feel at any level
strong enough to talk about it.
Yeah, no. And it's like, Kid Rock knows better. So maybe he's an evil genius and he knows exactly what he's saying, because Kid Rock's been around the block for way too long to step in it in a media thing, unless he means to. And maybe he did. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's interesting.
When you talk about murdering 30 to 40,000 civilians,
but I also think because he is so political and everything like that, sometimes when he pops up, right? I think he does actually have a take on that. And that's his take. I would just go. I think that's actually.
I don't think it's a very smart take.
I don't think so either.
No. I really don't.
Because he seems like one of those, hard ass, pick yourself up by the bootstraps kind of guys. And, we don't take no prisoners. We don't take no hostages type deal. So when he hears that they're taking hostages, he's probably like, well, we're going to go in there and kick their asses. Except,
no matter what.
A little more complicated than that one.
Yeah. No, it was interesting, though, hearing him talk about, the diversity in his band. Yeah. And if you've known that band at all, just how many diverse members there are. Twisted Brown Trucker is a big band, and there's all different sexes and races and sexualities. Like they're all there, and they've been there from the beginning. They were there in the fucking mid '90s. So it's like that's not that's the way I don't mind seeing DEI. And he was saying like, look, I told these guys, he says, it's probably not very American of me, but I said, the only way you're getting fired from this band is if you don't vote. I don't give a fuck who you vote for. I don't care. I don't want to know. But you are going to go vote in this band. and he's like, yeah, I understand. That's probably not very, and he said, would I enforce it? No. But, I thought it was important. Like, there's all different views in this band, and lots of them have opposing views to me. But when we come in here, we have a job to do. We're musicians. We play. We love playing together. We've been playing together for decades.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, that's. I love that. I love that about his band over the years. And it's very easy now to just be like, oh yeah, white trash. He's as relevant as Scott Baio. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll always find it funny when people like I like Kid Rock as well. I'm actually one who's liked his later stuff in the sense that I like the country music. Stuff like that.
I'm sure.
So it is always funny when I hear people on social media in my circle, and I just don't get involved, of course, but bashing on him, and I always think, oh, fucking Mr. Nobody from fucking Waterford, Michigan's going to say, oh, Kid Rock's a fucking loser. Okay, well, good for you.
Yeah.
You're very
the
successful,
worst thing I've ever
you?
said about the guys I just didn't like his music.
Yeah, and that's
the
fine.
worst I've ever had to say
There's
about him.
Plenty
That's fine
of
with
people
that.
have said that. That's fine. It's not for everybody. He knows that.
Oh, yeah. If I met the guy, I'd have nothing bad to say about him except for, hey, your song sucks.
Yeah.
That's as far as how you go, and he'd probably just go, all right, cool.
Yeah, it
not
just
gonna affect him.
Honestly, it means something to me all these years later to know how involved in the local community he
I can respect him for that.
with children's charities, with veterans charities, with when it came to military and kids, he's done a lot, and he's given a lot of his time, his money.
Yeah.
He's given a lot. And I don't just forget that because, he doesn't agree with me politically.
I know. I always wonder what people like. Again, people's takes. Like, if you're to be like, okay, you don't like his music, you don't even agree with his politics, but you do know this part. It's like I think they don't care. I just don't think it matters. It doesn't care that. Doesn't matter that they actually are trying to do things, trying to make better things. Back when you have
trying to give back.
Back when you would do the concerts and he'd fucking actually be like, hey, there's going to at least be a certain part of these tickets that are only going to be $20. We're going to have $5 beers, not
like
$15
all of
beers.
them. Yeah, most of those
Shit
tickets.
like
He had tours where it was just $20 a ticket, and that was.
I respect the shit out of that.
Yeah, I don't know if he paid the difference, but he'd make sure there was like beer for $8 actually or some shit like that. I don't know if he went and paid the difference. I don't know how that worked.
Yeah.
He brought his own pallets of Bud Light.
Yeah, well, they ran out famously. I mean, he was one of only a couple concerts that ever run out of beer at Pine Knob, and that was Kid Rock did it once or twice, maybe.
They fucking ran out that time I went to Eric Church at the Palace.
At the Palace?
Back when Jay went too.
Yeah.
I went with a listener actually, and I don't know if you remember that, but
yeah, vaguely.
But they ran out of beer that night, which is I fucking couldn't even country concert. You're gonna run out of fucking Bud Light? How?
Oops. They ran out of all beer. That's crazy.
That's what I was told. Yeah.
I was gonna say this just because I got in shit from the other side too. We're like, you only like him because he's a right wing guy or whatever. I'm like, no, I am a lifelong Rage Against the Machine fan.
Yeah,
I am really good at separating artists from the art.
Yeah. I take a great deal of pride in that too.
Rage right now.
Anybody that leans right is not anybody, but most people. If you're a music fan and you lean right, you're very good at looking the other way and just appreciating art.
Yeah.
Not so much on the other side.
No.
So I'll say this. I mean,
because all of us like people that fucking are completely against things we go.
And have our whole lives. There's bands have been very clear about what their political leanings were. And it was like, you just put up with it. I still saw Pearl Jam every chance I could.
Right.
Even though I knew he was going to have some unhinged rant about
I know if I go to a Rage concert today, there's going to be a 20-minute rant by whatever guys in the band about how we're all racist for showing up at their show or some bullshit.
Yeah, probably. Aren't they done now? Isn't Rage?
No, they're still going. They rejoined together.
I thought I just heard this weekend from someone that they're...
This weekend? Sorry.
I could be wrong. Maybe I dreamed it. I swear I was having a conversation with someone. They were like, no, that's not happening.
No, because I was going to say, like, one of those things where, like, as much as they spout off and every time Tom Morello goes on a radio, and he's the guy who got me to pick up a guitar in the first place. It was Tom Morello. The way things he did to a guitar are second to none. I think he's one of the greatest guitarists of all time.
Where was he at, Harvard?
Yeah, he went to Harvard. He was a well-educated guy. But every time he gets on a mic in a radio, it is some of the most dumb, brain-dead takes ever. Mm-hmm. So I've gotten really good at separating it all. And no, I got nothing in the news about them splitting up again. So I think they're still together as of now.
I'll have to think about what I was talking about. I thought maybe someone got sick or got cancer and they... Fuck, I don't know.
Even they don't know. Hold on. Rage Against the Machine's bassist, Tim Comerford, has absolutely no intel about if his band is broken up. And that was 3 days ago posted.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. I'd love to see them again. I saw them back in the day, but I'd love to see them again.
I would too.
Real quick, Mike.
I saw them on the Bulls on Parade tour.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I was
speaking of music.
2 years old.
Have you watched this? Because I know you have Peacock now. Did you watch that Run DMC thing they got on there yet? Or have you heard about it?
No.
They got a 3-part documentary with on Run DMC and just like the history of it. And
have you watched it?
Yeah, just watched it this weekend.
Was it good?
Yeah, there's big names. The 2 Beastie Boys left are in there talking. They're both in there talking.
Yeah.
You know, LL Cool J's in there and stuff. Eminem's in there.
I was gonna say Eminem's got to be in there. He inducted him.
Eminem's in there. You should check it out, man. And I'm sure you would appreciate it. I'm assuming you were a fan.
Yeah.
Of Run DMC.
Yeah. I remember early Run DMC when they did the team up with Aerosmith for Walk This Way.
Yeah.
It was just fucking awesome.
It was the first time rap and rock got together and made something cool.
Yeah. And then Anthrax did it with Public Enemy.
Yep.
Which was amazing.
Then Ice-T started up Body Count with
Body Count. Yeah.
I remember the band he joined up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should check it out if you have, honestly, because I know you have
I'll check it out.
It's a good shit. You'll like it.
I found this story a little interesting and disturbing at the same time. The FCC, Federal Communications Commission put forth a rule that would make broadcasters publicly post the race and gender of their employees, drawing concerns that companies would be pressured into making hiring decisions based on identity.
Uh-oh.
Duh. Well, I think that's exactly what would happen. The proposed rule will require broadcasters to track the racial and gender composition of their employees and make that data publicly available. Rule was adopted in a 3-2 vote earlier this month. It was released to be placed into a federal register for comment. Brendan Carr, he was appointed to the commission by Trump. So there's people appointed by Trump and Biden that are weighing in on this kind of thing. He said the rule would enable activists to pressure broadcast companies to make hiring decisions based on demographics.
Why should the government be a part of that?
I don't know why.
And by the way, Mike, this is
no,
just my opinion. This is severely different than what you're bitching about with Saturday Night Live. In my opinion,
yeah,
this is a fucking government stepping in and saying if you want a broadcast license, you have to.
Right.
It's say based on race and sex, who works at your company.
Yeah.
That is fucking racist.
Yeah.
That's fucking racist.
Shouldn't matter.
The record makes clear that the FCC is choosing to publish the scorecard for one and only one reason: to ensure that individual businesses are targeted and pressured into making decisions based on race and gender. The FCC caves to the demands of activist groups that have worked for years and across different industries to persuade the federal government to obtain and, more importantly, publish this type of data about individual businesses. This is no benign disclosure regime. The rule, which was backed by the Biden-appointed members of the commission, shock there, will force radio and TV broadcasters to file a yearly Form 395B disclosing the demo composition of their workforce. We agree with broadcasters and other stakeholders that workforce diversity is critical to the ability of broadcast stations both to compete with one another and to effectively serve local communities across the country. Without objective and industry-wide data, it is impossible to assess changes, trends, or progress in this industry, or just pay attention to who gets ratings.
Well, luckily, broadcast media is basically dead. So
exactly.
I was about to say
that's one of my notes.
I was
here.
literally just about to say, like, hi FCC. You know, my name's Garrett. I'm a white guy, kind of gay.
I'm part of the fucking FCC.
So I just want to say.
Yeah.
This is why everyone has a podcast now.
You, right? We get bonus points for you.
But this is why everyone has a podcast or a YouTube channel. Nobody watches TV anymore. Nobody's listening to the radio.
No, they're not.
It's so uptight that you can't get anything out.
The commission said that making the data public would ensure accuracy and that the move was consistent with a broader shift towards greater openness regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion across both corporate America and government. At worst, the order pretextually seeks to force broadcasters into making race and gender-based hiring decisions, which is offensive. Or best, order pushes disclosure for disclosure's sake, which violates First Amendment. You know what I noticed in this article that they didn't say, which was, okay, and what happens then if you're deemed not progressive enough?
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
So you're just saying, like, we need to gather all this.
We just need this information for no particular reason whatsoever. Don't look into it.
Right. We just want this information. Why? First off, Isis and Garrett are both right. What does it matter? Who the fuck is listening to radio anymore? And
no, they're
TV?
killing it themselves.
Yeah. But honestly, so if you compile all this data, you leave off at a critical part of the story. And what happens if it turns out you've got an all-white team? Your team is majority men and majority white.
You lose your license, Mike.
You lose your license. Yep. And then you go, okay, well, what were their ratings? Did they get hammered because they weren't diverse enough and their community knew it? And you find out, no, they're the number one show in a market. And it's like, okay, am I trying to put a winning formula together of personalities and people that work for this station? And maybe what I'm going for with this rock and roll station doesn't apply to the Spanish station over here in LA. And maybe their hiring practices are completely different because their demo's different.
I would say, and
what they're going for is different. Yeah, I would hope so.
And by the way, the reason when I were to say my opinion why this is different than when you mentioned the SNL thing, and Jay to me used to kind of draw this line a little bit himself, but like there is, to me, if SNL as a fucking part of NBC wants to decide that we're hiring gay fucking actors for SNL, that's kind of their deal. It's
Yeah.
when the government is going to step in into private companies. That's for me on my end, where then I get drawn in and like that's bullshit.
And now they're just saying we're just compiling data, and it's like, well,
yeah, right.
Who's calling for this compilation of data, and what are you going to do with it? It's not that you're not going to do nothing with it.
Well, and government,
and also, what is the point? So if you publish this data in the under the guise of like absolute transparency, okay, and then what? So what? This protest group that's got to find the next fire to put out.
Yep.
They find out that how dare this radio station or this TV show over here hired vastly white males and whatever. So what does that lead to? That leads them to what? Throw rocks?
That all white people are fucking devils.
Well, there's that. But maybe they go and boycott advertisers, and we try to bankrupt them.
Well, by the way, if they're gonna look at the numbers,
so this small group of fucking angry assholes that want this perfect diversity, equity world, which will never exist, they're going to shame advertisers into not advertising. Like, you're putting a target on people's back for no reason.
I was going to say, you're going to start getting like you look on Google for, hey, this restaurant's black owned or whatever, right? You're going to start getting those for your TV shows, or it's like black run TV network.
Yeah.
By the way, so if you're going to do numbers, let's say that a radio station has 100 employees overall. And they publish how many people in it. Even if you're going to go to like what's fair, does that mean we do it by proportion of the country? So like, does that mean, okay, well, they have 10 black employees. That's proportion to 10% of the population. And is that how it goes, or does it need to be more than that?
No, it needs to be more than that, as we've seen.
Okay.
And which is crazy, because if you think the demographics in Southern California are the same as they are in Arkansas, you're fucking wrong. Which is why this idea of a national minimum wage at $25 an hour doesn't make any sense when people here in Alabama, the median income and whatnot says you can make a living at $12 an hour minimum wage, and without bankrupting all the small businesses in town. Whereas in LA, that doesn't necessarily apply, and maybe you do need a higher minimum wage. Worry about yourself. Don't act like everybody's the same across the country.
That's where the national fucking. I know you disagree with this. I know you do, but that's where a fucking a national, somewhat of a, what do you call it, like a universal paycheck. The idea of a minimum wage is bullshit to me, because that's coming from the businesses. The government, I know I'm for this, but that's where I want that fucking money to come from. The government, not fucking small businesses.
Oh, yeah. If they were spending it on that as opposed to some worthless war, pointless war somewhere, I'd agree with you 100%.
Send $50 billion or whatever to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Take that $50 billion,
90 billion.
Divide it.
$90 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, so take
the last one was
$90 billion, and I get it. We have 300 million, so that's only what, $1 a person or whatever. But that's my point, though.
No, that would be 330 million.
Oh,
if you gave $1 a person.
Well, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So that's my point, though. Then my math was terrible, but that's my point.
It was really bad.
But instead of fucking sending $90 billion over there, let's do a universal fucking income here. And I don't agree
or
with
universal health care
or health care.
Yeah,
even better,
there's lots of things you can do. The fact is,
but
the government hasn't proved that they're capable of handling those funds and doing anything but, because the fact is, when it's your money that you're spending, you're way more frugal about it. You're less frugal about other people's money.
But that's what they're trying to do. Instead of trying to do that, they're just trying to step in and make everybody fucking raise this minimum wage. I'm not saying I think it probably could have raised at some point. I think
when you're talking about $3.25 an hour or $7 an hour, sure.
But the point is, like, it really shouldn't be put on the small businesses. So when someone like me who talks about a universal income, it's not because I think that fucking mom and pop down the place need to be paying their people $30 an hour. Fucking government step in and fucking throw us all some of that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another.
I'd have to do a lot more research on that, but I'm with you. It's like they're already wasting and throwing away trillions of dollars a year on garbage. You could fix homelessness for $20 billion.
They don't want to, though. That's
no,
reality.
of course.
I disagree with you, actually.
What?
On the universal basic income. I just think the government's pretty inept and can't run anything.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It seems like a good idea on paper, but when everybody makes $1,000, what's $1,000 worth?
Nothing.
Yeah, I get that, but we're going.
I'm just saying, like, if I go to McDonald's and they know I have $1,000 in my pocket, then who's to say a Big Mac doesn't cost $1,000 now?
Yeah. Well, I understand that. I'm just saying that This is going off on a
I know,
tangent
it's
that we
all
didn't
Again,
go on, but
dude,
yeah.
this goes with the
I
whole
just believe we have enough
consistency of the
money.
show of the road to hell is, again, paved with great intentions.
I just
mean,
believe-
it is. It's like, oh, this sounds great until you put it into practice, and then you realize, oh, shit, how are humans going to fuck this up? How is your corrupt as hell government going to fuck this up? And they will.
well, because they don't want to solve
And which
it.
is
That's the
why so many
reality.
conservative-minded people go, no, how about you don't tax us for shit?
Yeah.
I'll handle mine and myself and mine. You worry about yourself and
Yeah.
yours, and leave me the fuck out of it. Keep me out of your stupid social programs that always go belly up,
Right. Yeah.
that literally help no one, that always get abused, that always get used.
That's all I've ever seen about him.
Yeah, and so it's,
I don't, well, I agree. I would say I think we have enough to do it. I just don't think no one wants that. The whole New World Order, all that shit, or if you want, they don't want
Right.
that. I think we could do it. I don't think they want to
They'd
do it.
rather
That's my
just
point.
eliminate 300 million Americans.
I
if
agree
they
with
could.
that.
They'd
I
rather
think that would be
delete.
more the
Almost all of
solution.
Yeah, no, dude, COVID was great in a lot of respects because it really made people show their hand about what they care about, what their priorities are, how much they actually give a shit about the citizens, and what your freedoms mean. And they showed their cards every day, and they doubled and tripled down on it. And now there's a lot more people out there that understand just how fucked up these people are.
And
how
it gave a lot of
corrupt
people
they
a
are.
lot
I
of
would
time
say,
to
like,
look into things.
Yeah,
I don't
sure did.
I don't regret personally being more scared of COVID than most people I know. For a while, I don't regret that because I was making that decision myself. They weren't telling me it.
it's fine. A lot of people were.
Having said that, I also agree with the fact that you look at it and I think how many people were so blindly, after a period of time, willing to still be okay with things that happen.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference to me in that
Oh, I know.
moment
I know
for a
people
few-
personally that are still like that today.
I have a friend who I don't even want to almost say, his sister, to this day, will not, she doesn't hang out with her parents. She doesn't hang out with him because he hasn't been vaccinated yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to go down that, but it's like that. These are a family member that I know. That
Yeah.
She's like, you're talking 5 years later.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
it's
difference.
ridiculous.
And when you talk about the freedoms and stuff like that, even at the time, I was doing what I thought was right for me and what I thought was right.
Yeah,
But the
and
idea of
you were saying that all along.
but the idea of like, yes, they went too far. Yes, the idea that you couldn't fucking, some of the shit was going on.
Catastrophically,
Right. There's
like
no,
like they didn't go too far. They went way
and
fucking
it's a
too
bummer
far.
to me because someone like me who was doing it, in my opinion, genuinely, like it's too bad to see how far they could take it and what would happen if it happened again. And having said that, if it happened again, someone like me's not going to listen the next time. I
No,
would say that.
that's the
and
problem.
I fell in line the first time for a long time.
That's the problem.
Actually, if I can jump in for a second, we got a super chat from my dad. It just says ding if you want to hit the bell. But actually, Anthony also chimed in with Eric just wants free money because he never had a real job or lived on his own.
That's not true.
Yeah,
by the
and
way,
I don't think
but-
that's true.
No,
either, 'cause
Eric's actually a very hard one.
There's actual people like even Joe Rogan and Andrew Yang when they were going together at it, like they were both agreeing that there needs to be a universal basic income. So it's not like a completely
Joe
lazy
Rogan's an
fucking thing.
interesting case
It's
because
not like
he
a
grew up
laziness
with
thing.
welfare in his
Yeah.
family and government cheese and appreciates those government programs for what they were. Now this would have been in the 60s,
back when it
or
was a
the
little harder to
early
abuse and
70s.
people were more trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly.
I want a universal income, by the way, just for whatever it's worth, because I don't believe we need to have the amount of homeless we have. I know there's some drug addiction. I know there's some of that shit. But
Oh my God, horrible addiction.
But a lot of that comes from. God, this is going a whole other way. But it's
no,
not
there's
for
a
me.
tremendous amount of mental illness
I should just say
and
it's
drug
not for
addiction.
me.
Yeah.
I fucking will be fine. I know I work hard. I'm not a millionaire, but I do fine.
Yeah.
If my parents kicked me out tomorrow, I'd be fine. I make enough money, so whatever. But not that I have to defend each. Take, but
wrapping up the FCC.
Sorry, I know I kinda
No,
took that
you're
away
fine.
from
You're
you.
fine. The problem with something being not just merit based, where it's like you wouldn't want that. You would go, well, don't be ridiculous. Of course, that's absurd. If you took your pro sports teams, and tried to diversify them, and it's
let's diversify the NBA.
diversify the NBA or diversify. And even if it's like they want a parade because they hired some broad to be an assistant football coach with the Bears and the Niners, they couldn't wait to plaster that bitch Katie Sowers, whatever the fuck her name was. And maybe she's a very qualified coach. I'll never know because I know there's such a push to make this a thing. I don't believe that there are these, like, that's the most qualified person for that job. It's like, okay, every person on this staff is responsible for doing their small part to make the team as great as it can possibly be.
Yep.
And I don't care what to me, I want the best person. If that's a black lesbian woman that's the absolute best qualified person to be my new quarterbacks coach, so be it.
Oh,
I
she's
don't
the best
care.
quarterback. Throw her in.
Yes, sure. I mean, that's hilarious. But
I know.
But the point being, I don't want there to be any. I think it lessens these people when you admit that merit's not all that's important, but being able to go, look at our numbers. Look at our numbers. We got women and gays are up and trans are down. But
Yeah, like that's
we're
how
working on
your
that.
company works.
That's not all that does. All that does. People will see through the pandering of that, and they'll know this was a DEI hire and not based on merit alone. And then those people, fairly or unfairly, because there will be some very qualified people
Yeah.
that get thrown in this. And if I'm a black man who works his ass off and gets to a position, I don't want there to be any question as to whether or not I deserve to be here.
100%. It's got to be insulting.
It's got to be terribly insulting.
And even if he knows he worked hard.
You can't just blame the people that go, wonder how he got that job, how he moved up so fast. There are people in companies who move up the corporate ladder quick because their talent shines through, and a company knows if we don't pay this guy and move him up, he's going to move on, and we don't want to lose him.
Yep.
But if you have a woman doing that, or a gay person doing that, or a black guy doing that, you don't want people automatically going, well, we all know why he's moved up the ladder.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because they can't look themselves in the mirror and be honest and go like, yeah, Carl's fucking amazing. That's why he's moving up the ladder.
I think that's a lot of it, to be honest with you.
They want to be able to go, well, there was nothing I could do. It was out of my hands. I'm not gay. I'm not black.
Yeah.
What was I supposed to do? How do I compete with that?
Yeah.
I can't compete with his skin color. Well, maybe it had jack shit to do with his skin color. Maybe he's just that good.
Yeah.
But people aren't going to see it that way. They're going to know that this shit is being implemented, and then they're going to go, I guess we'll never know if he was that much better than everybody else, or if this is just another hire to make the fucking bottom line look good as far as this bullshit stats competition we're doing with people with characteristics they have nothing, no control over. No control over. I don't believe that you can choose to be gay. I suppose some people could.
Yeah,
but,
maybe.
I don't believe that. I believe people, they're attracted to who they're attracted
Exactly
to.
kind of how it happened, too, because I get that question. You choose to do this? I'm like, it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Just, it hits. You feel something.
I'm
Go for
shocked, not to be weird about it, but I actually am shocked that people in this day and age would still ask somebody, do you choose to be
Oh, it gets
gay?
asked.
That's so bizarre to me.
Usually
It's funny.
not
I
mean,
see it
but
in the
it's like,
emails we
yeah.
get about Garrett. People are looking at this
Is
as
he
an
sure?
opportunity. Like, is he sure? Is he? I'm like, I don't know. I'll ask him. We'll ask him the questions
All
in
right.
email if they come up.
It
But
just would
all
seem
for
so
him.
weird to me to say to somebody, like, are you choosing to want this?
Yep.
it does seem
Like,
weird. but
why,
yeah.
me asking you, are you
Well, especially,
is it your
too, 'cause
choice
I've
if you like
dated a
tits?
woman in the
Like,
past, yeah.
Come on.
But a lot of,
like,
you know what?
imagine
So
if you-
is Jenny Fetter. No one
Yeah.
would confuse Jenny for being on the fence, gay, straight, but she's dated guys.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people in the gay community have tried to force that
Yeah.
and be like, I want to be normal. I don't want to be different. Especially, there's a lot of support for them now. Probably
lot
too
easier
much.
these days.
It's much easier. But
Yeah.
back in the day, it was like you'd go to prom with a date, even though it was just like there's nothing here.
Yeah.
That had to be horrible for those people. Honestly, it did. Had to be a horrible situation where it was like, and looking back at it now, and I was listening to some old shows that I liked. I got down the wormhole with Opie and Anthony, and the amount of people that are in the studio calling everybody a faggot,
Yeah.
and this or
Yeah.
that, or what are you, fucking gay, homo?
Yeah.
Like common. And it's like, yeah, this probably wasn't a great way to be sending the message that everybody's
yeah.
welcome. I mean, it is what it is, and
Yeah.
I'm certainly not for censoring anything, but it's, the pendulum has swung too far in my opinion, but it's probably not an awful thing to make people just kind of feel a little more comfortable and like,
I can get that.
because the connotation is this is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you like someone of the same sex, that's bad. And I'll show you how bad. We just laugh at it. It's just mocked.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are you, a fucking homo?
I usually start the jokes now.
Yeah, I know. I love that about you.
Takes the wind out of people's sails. They don't know how to react.
Yeah, it's great. I've got my fag pass. I don't use it that often, but I've got a fag pass, and the writing on it is even better than.
Thank you. I think there's some misspellings back there. Don't look too far into it.
I won't.
I was drunk when I made them.
It's really well done. It's
Thank
really
you.
well written. So, but I feel I'm blessed that the community has welcomed me with open arms, and I have a pass that I can pull out and be like, "Hey, I got a card, man. What do you want me to do?" What were you going to say?
Oh no, nothing. If I looked like it, I was just nothing.
And I have a white privilege card too.
Nice.
Which trumps everything. It's from birth to death. And then you find out that the guy that created the white privilege card that so many of you joke about and have is a black guy.
Yeah,
I think it's fucking hilarious.
I've got an N-word pass at home. I'll
Do
bring
you
it in.
really?
Yeah. Handwritten.
Who gave you that?
My brother's friend. I gave him a fag pass. He
Is
traded
he
me for
black?
an N-word pass. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. All right, let's get to some email. I did want to say first, welcome Christine Wasco, I believe that's the full name, as a Patreon member. So welcome to the team. I hope you find there's plenty of stuff in there to listen to get you started, Christine. Thank you for being a member. And I did some more Drew and Mike pause over the weekend. I did a two-parter with
Jerry Garcia's toilet.
Jerry Garcia's toilet. I guess it was auctioned off, and then it wound up being stolen before it could be delivered.
Yep.
And so there's two parts to that. I did those. I'll do some more this week. It's just kind of crazy around here. I've got all this construction going on. It makes it kind of difficult, but
No, you've been kicking him out pretty well.
yeah, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best with that, and so I don't know. I've got some thoughts in my head about that too, but we'll get that. We'll get there down the road. Anyway, Christine, thank you so much for being a member, and I really appreciate it. Go to radiofor1.com. It's the best way to support the show. Go there. You can sign up to be a Patreon member and get exclusive content each and every week. You know, that's where you're going to find the links to Amazon. Just click on that, shop as normal. My Pillow, just use promo code TDC. And, you know, I know people have their opinions of Mike Lindell. I don't care.
Oh, absolutely.
He's been very generous to me personally over the years, and he's just been a really generous guy and genuine dude. So I don't need to cancel anybody in my life. People that are nice to me get treated with the same from me. So,
Put your politics aside. Get yourself a nice rest on one of those pillows.
yeah, they're great, and you know, all the other stuff too. I've tried. He's sent me all of it over the years. The blankets, the fucking slippers, all that stuff, and I like it. It's good stuff. So just use promo code TDC over there. Also, send your emails along. Walters with an O, obviously. Walters@DetroitCast.com. So let's read some emails, and then we'll call it a day. This one on the new format. Yo, Walters. It was awesome to hear you on Drew's show. Why, thank you, Andy. Hopefully that's not a one-off and you go there regularly. Well, my guess would be somewhere in between. It's not a one-off maybe, and certainly not regularly.
Yeah.
You know, he's got his show. I have this over here. And we're both very happy. Whatever, if there's a way to combine what Drew's doing and what we're doing, like I'm all for discussing that. I think Drew's. I've always talked about him being my mentor. Super talented. He's easy to do a show with. It's fun, and I think most people enjoyed it. So, Andy, you'll be the first to know. I can promise you.
Wow, the first to know.
Yeah, even before I tell Isis.
Better hold this.
I will tell Andy.
Better hold that email.
Expect an email coming. To the Astronum file.
To the Astronum file, exactly. Also, Jonah Hill did apologize for every aspect of Superbad on Fresh Air via NPR, which was pathetic.
Did he hand that money back?
Yeah, that's a good.
I mean, this guy is such a total pussy. It's stunning.
And don't worry. And by the way, fucking Jonah Hill apology not accepted, and I'll still watch Superbad because it's still fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
For the obvious reasons of why it's hilarious.
Yes, exactly. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. It's great stuff. I'll get off your nuts now, but I just wanted to let you know you're doing great work, Andy. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. And
that movie is
really
fucking
do.
funny. For
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Like, it still is very funny.
Of course it is. Congrats and other shit. Hey, Mike, I can't believe you actually read my email on the air nonetheless. Well, why wouldn't I read your email? If you write in, I will read your email. It doesn't mean I'm going to read it on the air. Deuceco is my first name. It's pronounced Deuce hyphen Co.
Oh, it's not Dusko.
I think
That's
I called
lame.
him Dusko.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were
Yeah,
calling him
yeah.
Dusko.
Yeah, but having a Dusko
Cooler.
listening.
I mean, Dusko is it's a little foreign, but you can kind of get some like spy name
Yeah.
in there. But Dusko is cool. He's Dusko to us.
Yeah, he could be Dusko to us. That's fine. Dusko's not bad either.
No.
Hey, what up, Deuce?
I'm thinking like Cusco, Emperor's New Groove. If everyone knows that movie, it's like an old Disney
what is
movie.
it?
Emperor's New Groove.
No.
Nah, I never watched it. I know it's popular, but I never
Never
watched
mind then.
Yeah,
I'll show you after.
But you can call him Dusko. I'll give you permission to do that. My parents were both born in what used to be Yugoslavia, so they gave me a name from their motherland, Dusko. Anyways, I'd appreciate anything you can do to initiate a conversation for us with Mike Lindell. I'd be more than happy to repay the favor to you and Biggie and Garrett. I've had multiple conversations with Mike Lindell, so they're in the archive. If you search Detroit Cast Mike Lindell, there's a few hours of interviews with him. They're fucking hilarious. I don't know how we'd beat those.
No.
But yeah, last time I tried to get Mike on, it wasn't quite as easy as it has been.
Yeah. Got a lot going on.
He does, and I don't know.
This is Mike Lindell. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Mike. I think there's a concern that anytime that guy's doing a non-scripted live interview, that he could say something and possibly. And the last thing I want is any one of us getting fucking deposed. I do not want to end up in a courtroom about an interview we did. Yeah, I bet you.
It'd be good press for the show.
I do not.
Get some new. I'll do it. I got nothing going on.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that works, boys. But I don't want to do that.
All right.
And you know the way our show interviews people, it would go down some
Tell me I get
uncomfortable
a free
roads.
trip to DC and I get to talk to some judges.
Yeah. Hey, if I can make that happen, Garrett, you're welcome to go.
Sweet.
I do not want to spend myself under attack because of a stupid fucking interview with Lindell. So I think that's why there's a little hesitancy. Not that they're going to openly say that, but I think when you've got pending lawsuits,
Dawn's pulling
and
back a little bit.
His ability to shut up is not very good. He says what's on his mind. He's open and he's as honest as he can be about it. That's how you trip people up in depositions. That's how you fuck people over during court stuff. So they're probably like, yeah, we're not just going to let him have free reign.
You just call his pillows lumpy.
Yeah. Hey, you're an asshole.
Actually, as I said that, Lynn just commented in, I love my lumpy my pillow.
That's so funny.
You're not lumpy.
I'm loving this show with Big E and Garrett so far. No homo. And you killed it on Drew's podcast all week. I'd love to see you guys on each other's show more often. You guys have something special. Thanks again, Dusko. Well, thank you, Dusko. I'm glad to know that you're a real person. That was a real name.
Yep.
And I'm glad you're listening. I'm glad you enjoyed what Drew and I did last week with Brandon and Bentley and Maz called in. I'm thrilled by that.
By the way, as far as he said, if you helped him lead towards that thing, he would be willing to pay, willing to make it worth our while or whatever.
Wait, what's that?
However,
Dusko, yeah.
Venmo is Eric Fady, man. You can go right. You don't have to cut out the middleman, dude. ERICFADIE. That's
there
my
you
Venmo.
go. So
and
that's
Cash App.
He's begging for money from you, Dusko.
Yeah,
he's on it.
Loved hearing you with Drew. You and Drew sounded great together. Effortless. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that. JPE, sir.
Oh.
You were awarded a JP. This is also from Frank. The cheek implant line about Amy Andrews when you were on the Drew and Mike podcast. Fucking gold. Dude, why are women ruining their faces? It looks so artificial and downright awful. The inflation of their lips and cheeks. Yeah, I don't know if did you hear that?
No,
I know what you're talking about.
So.
Yeah.
What did you say?
So Drew pulled up a picture. He likes to cover local anchors and shit. I wouldn't even know who half these people are. Right. But Amy Andrews is a very, very cute, still young, blonde, beautiful girl, and she claimed that she had Drew pulls up a picture like before and after,
right?
And her cheeks are all fucking, looks like she's had work, maybe her lips, she's had a tuck here. And she said something like, hey, I recently had some eye surgery.
Okay.
Right? To help my vision, I'm assuming is all it was.
Right.
And I can't wear eye makeup, so you're stuck with this look. Yeah. And I said, I think she spelled cheek implants wrong. Because it looked like, okay, I understand what a girl without fucking eye makeup looks like, but
it's not.
That doesn't mean you have the fucking blown out cheeks.
Okay. Nice.
I was gonna say,
it was kind of rude on my part, honestly, but I was like, no, I'm just
saying.
That's
the deal. They're
funny.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
They all look like this when you guys were talking about that, and he knows who this is. It's a Maureen Ponderosa from Always Sunny. After she gets like 20 different kind of surgeries to start looking like a cat.
Who is that?
That's from Always Sunny. It's Maureen Ponderosa is her character name, or whatever. But as
Okay.
she goes here, I'll pull up the next one. So as she goes throughout the show, she keeps trying to get surgery to make herself look more and more like a cat. Mm-hmm. So that's like kind of like the start right there. And every time I see these plastic surgery stories pop up, this is
they're
exactly
horrific.
what I remember of. Pulling up the next one right now. There we go. That's where it kind of like ends up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it's.
Do you remember this storyline?
Oh,
I know.
of course.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would just say, like, and I know we've said it so many times, just be yourself. It's not, even if you're bummed out that you're aging, everyone ages, and like, just whatever.
I know.
Be yourself. It's
No,
gonna
well,
be better than the alternative. I promise
Society has obviously played a role in making women feel uncomfortable. Now that
I
used to
know.
apply to women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, like that, and you go, oh, "What are you doing? Just
Yeah.
age gracefully." But seeing girls in their 20s doing this
Oh, I
shit
know.
and
Yeah.
with the lip and you're like, dude. This is going to be something that you can't stop doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they see when they look in the mirror. I really don't. Honestly, I don't know. I get it. You know, you had a baby and it was cesarean.
Yeah,
and,
you have a
and
scar or
You've got a
something.
scar and you want to get that cleaned up.
You're in
or-
an accident. Got
Yeah.
some face
That's
damage.
a little different.
100%
Even
fake
an
damage.
accident, of course. You
Even
know.
I breastfed 3 kids and they beat
Yeah.
the shit out of my tits. Like, okay, if there's some tuck you can do and filler that to
Yeah.
like I understand why someone would want to do that. But this idea of taking a beautiful girl, and I don't give a fuck who they are, 40-year-old, 50-year-old women, 60-year-old women, they can still hold it together. When you
Yeah.
start doing that, and you got that shiny, glossed over look, everything's smooth, it looks like shit. It just
100%.
does.
Your face isn't meant to age like that.
No.
It's not supposed to age up. It's supposed to age down a little
Yeah,
bit.
it is what it is. I was at a house call once in a wealthy suburb. Maybe a 30-year-old wife's face was so puffy it looked like she went 10 rounds with Tyson. Abrasions, red, stretched, and puffy. She said she just had a facial. Sure, if the facial meant someone used a syringe to inject snail jizz into your lips, good grief.
She had a facial from the homeless guy around the back alley.
Yeah, different kind of facial.
Oh.
Yeah. No, she might as well have. It just never looks good. I don't know, man. Today's podcast, Drew and Mike. Today was the best episode in a long time. You two played off each other so well and had me cracking up multiple times. More, please. I beg you, more. I could have listened for hours. I always enjoy both of your shows. And I don't mean to put down previous shows, but today was an absolute treat to listen to. Thanks for putting out great content. Bone job. So he didn't even take a shot at you, Isis.
He
was
did in the
waiting
comments
for it.
already.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, we
that's-
already got to that one.
Yeah. Let's see. The Blue Pigs. Thanks for the memories. They came to my elementary school, and I haven't thought about them in 30 years.
It's funny.
Yeah. We've got some more email. We'll save them, though.
Core memory unlocked, as the kids say.
What's that?
Core memory unlocked.
Yeah, isn't that
I don't
great?
say that.
That's funny. That fits, though.
It does.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I hope we weren't. I don't think we were too brutal today.
No,
on some
not at
stuff.
all.
But if we've got any new listeners that
Oh,
are,
I'm sure I was.
maybe.
I think people hate my fucking shit. I don't know.
No, it's all right.
No, they're just gonna call anybody that. They're just gonna call us Ultra Mega Mega.
Yep.
You know, they're just.
But
Gonna
see,
do
I get,
that
in my
bullshit.
opinion, you know what's funny about that? In my opinion, from some of the people, I feel like I get a little too much, fucking Uber, I'm just a libtard now or some
Yeah.
shit. And I don't agree with that.
You're a green libtard, which is equally annoying.
but I don't agree with that.
No,
That's what I would
you're
say.
weird in that there's like. I
I'm
thought
saying,
you'd
I
be
feel like I
equally
do-
upset about the FCC thing, and it coming down to you not caring about the story is no reason not to do the story.
No, I get
But
that.
you surprise me sometimes,
Well,
E,
with
but
the
it keeps
FCC,
me on my toes.
with the FCC thing, like I said, to me, the line is a different one.
Yeah,
when the
I get
government
it.
is stepping in versus a personal company. Unfortunately, obviously, that's just a difference. And the problem
But-
is these days the government is getting in bed with companies.
Yes.
And that's why it's
That's
different.
what I
to
was
me.
just gonna
That's why
say.
it's different to me.
Yeah.
And that's where it sucks.
He's only half a
honestly.
socialist.
Yeah, right. But that's where I have the problem. Is like, okay, but then you've got this shadow connection betwixt the government and
Yeah.
these social media companies
Yeah.
or giant corporations.
No, it's a very-
That's where it's like, oh, is nobody going to call this out? This is fucking highly illegal. And but it's only illegal if someone gets charged for it.
It's only
And
illegal if
they
you
never
didn't put a
will.
couple of dollars in the congressman's pocket on your way in.
Right. And we know it's pay to play, and we know it's a scam, and it becomes clear every day. But we're not going to do anything except point it out here.
Yep.
And you know what I was thinking real quick
laugh at
to think about
Real
that
quick, and we're wrapping
Yeah,
up.
when you go back to the SNL thing, for example, even when I talk about not caring as much or it doesn't bother me as much, I think I'm just more reached a point where fucking let's ride it. You know what I mean? Like, be careful what you wish for. Have a fun time. I'm just very at peace with how my life has gone, and so I'm okay to let these people. Let's ride it out, man.
Yeah.
Let's ride this to the end, and you're all a part of it. Like I just that's where I'm at with it. It's like have fun. Let's go to the end. Let's get to the conclusion.
Yeah, I don't
man.
think you'll like it very much.
I won't.
There's a famous saying that I'll butcher about when they were coming after the Jews.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you
I don't
didn't
think that's
do
me,
anything.
though. That's not where I'm at.
Well, yeah, that's basically what you just said.
I don't agree with that, though.
Well, that's how I heard it.
Sounds like we got a topic
Explain
for
it
tomorrow.
more.
I would disagree.
Yeah, we do. I agree. We have a topic for tomorrow. We've gone late. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you all then.